Well, here we are again. It literally just feels like we talked about Thunderbolts not that long ago, but now here we are to discuss another brand new MCU project. It is the first one of this sixth phase of the MCU after having a bad ending of Phase 5 with Iron Hearts. I'm not even reviewing it because I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole and I don't want to waste your time screaming, cursing at it for 5 hours. So yeah, that show, bad, don't watch it. But we have this movie, and it's also the fourth time that they are attempting to adapt the Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel, and one of the reasons why Marvel became as popular as it is today. So, I went into this movie with very middling expectation, because I wasn't really a fan of the trailers, I wasn't a fan of the look, but I liked how it was trying to be a period piece movie, I liked how it was trying to go for a different tone, and most of all, I liked that it was a standalone movie taking place in an alternative universe of the MCU, meaning that it's not tethered or hindered by a loyalty to the current continuity. That is a nice thing, and I will give Marvel credit for that. But, especially after rewatching all these other Fantastic Four movies, there was reason for concern. So, now that I have finally seen it, I literally just got back from the theater not even like an hour ago. What do I think of it? Well, if you saw my short already, you already know my basic thoughts, but if you want a more detailed analysis, well, here you are. Not a spoiler review, obviously, but it's still going to have a good bit to talk about, so sit down, grab some popcorn, grab a drink, whether it's healthy or not, and let's discuss this newest version of the Fantastic Four. So, what's up, what's happening, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, which is for any animation, including Marvel and TV and movies, as well as, obviously, superheroes. I am your host, Jackson Small, and welcome to the finale of our first family marathon, known as the Fantastic Four First Steps. Yes, the Fantastic Four, not just Fantastic Four. Whatever. Titles are just weird sometimes. So, let's get the basic thoughts out of the way right now. Is this a good movie? Yes, this is a good movie. Let me say that right up front. This is a good movie that is worth seeing. Is it the best of the MCU projects this year? No. I think Thunderbolts is a better movie, and I have no doubt that I'm going to greatly prefer the Marvel Zombies miniseries that's coming in October. Because that's more to my taste. Whereas this is more of a 50s, 60s period piece that just happens to have some sci-fi and crazy stuff thrown in. I don't know. And biggest question of all that is going to be the debate at the internet for the next week and a half. Is it better than James Gunn's Superman? Hell no. I'm sorry, this is nowhere close to touching Superman for me. Superman was a transcendent, amazing experience that I'm never going to forget. This was a pretty good comic book movie that was worth the $7 I paid for it for my ticket, but I'm not going to remember it in T-minus 2-3 years. So yeah, I don't think this movie's fantastic as many like to claim, but I don't think it's bad either. I'm kind of in the middle. This is a pretty good movie, and it is a good start to this new phase of the MCU, but it is far from perfect, and there are a lot of problems. So, here's my written review. It pretty much sums up everything I have to say. I hope you enjoy, and keep in mind, it's just my personal opinion. You do not have to agree with me. Here we go. So, I'm probably going to get a lot of blowback for this, but I took a vow to always be honest with my opinions, no matter how many people get offended, upset, or pissed off by it. As I've said many times in the 5 years I've been reviewing movies on this channel, I built this on blunt, pure, brutal honesty. So, if I don't agree with the general consensus, I'm going to say something. If I don't like a particular movie, I'm going to tear it apart. If I think a movie is amazing that a lot of people don't, I'm going to throw the general consensus out the window and talk to you about why I love it. Again, why I love Superman so much. So, you're here for a pure, blunt, and brutal, honest opinion. I understand that's a scary thing for some people, but trust me when I say it's just how I do things. I do not want to lie about my opinion, and I always just want to be honest and open with all of you. Just want to say that right up front. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? When this latest Fantastic Four movie began, I absolutely hated it. The first 25 to 30 minutes are slow, clunky, unfunny, annoying, tedious, poorly written, horrendously paced, full of that very cringy Phase 4, Phase 5 freaking MCU humor, and just plain boring. Like the first 25-30 minutes of this movie, I was expecting to give this movie like a 2 or a 3 at the end. Yeah, the first part of this movie really sucks that bad. However, once the actual plot of the movie started proper, it got a lot better. It became focused, it locked in, and I was able to get locked in with it because it finally got a focus in. And by the end, I was much more on the positive side of the fence. So overall, the Fantastic Four First Steps is a good start for Phase 6 and a good Fantastic Four movie. But it is far from being actually fantastic. It is not better than Thunderbolts, and no matter how controversial this might be to say, Superman 25 is leaps and bounds the better film of the two. That is one stance that will never change. Sorry. So, the characters are okay, especially Johnny Storm, played by Joseph Quinn, who's easily the best of the main four. Like, I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed him as this character, even if I still prefer the original version from Chris Evans. Yes, this new version's not a womanizer, and that is a nice way to differentiate and modernate without being cringe. But, despite being a womanizer, I just think that Chris Evans had a lot more charisma. That's just my opinion. And of course, Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman. She's far better than Jessica Alba ever was. She is the best part of the main four, even if I think that my favorite of the four is Johnny Storm in this new iteration. Just, again, opinions are opinions. The music is great. That is one thing I will agree with everyone on. The music in this movie is absolutely fantastic. Especially that main theme that actually has them saying Fantastic Four, like, in the main theme. Very cool. Amazingly well done and well composed. The cinematography and set design is really nice and captures the time period well. Like, I love how unique this both looks and feels from previous Marvel projects. Because this one's a lot more like Captain America: The First Avenger, where it's more locked in on being a period piece rather than just being a Marvel movie. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but you will understand what I mean if you've seen both films. Galactus was awesome. He is no longer a fart cloud with teeth. He is actually comic book accurate. He is a giant. He is menacing. And he is, okay, allow me this one curse word, please. He is badass in this movie. He is the best part of this movie. I freaking loved Galactus. They did him justice, finally. The final act is very good. I love this movie's finale. Like, legit love it. It's well set up, it's well thought out, and it has a few twists and turns that I did not see coming, and, almost one of the most brutal character deaths in the MCU. Like, it didn't actually happen, but it was almost gonna happen, and it was pretty fun. It was almost pretty gruesome. It was almost Multiverse of Madness level. Yes, I am not kidding. The action is solid. This is not an action-focused movie, a lot like Superman, but unlike Superman, it just doesn't quite have that same heart or human connection. That's why I think Superman is still the better movie. But the action that is in this movie is good. You do get a good bit of seeing everyone use their powers, especially Human Torch. And when you do get to see them battle and use their powers, it's solid. It's good. It's not amazing, and it's far from like the best battles in the MCU or anything like that, aside from the finale. Again, finale is fantastic. But the action overall, it's solid. It's good enough for a comic book movie. And since this is the first standalone movie in the MCU in years, it's not hindered by loyalty to continuity. Thank you, Marvel. That was a legitimately good move on your part, because I feel like if you tried to actually immediately connect this into the MCU continuity, this would have turned out to be another disaster. Just saying, that's probably how it would have went. However, here's all the problems. Let's start with the biggest one. Pedro Pascal sucks big time as Mr. Fantastic. Look, I have nothing against Pedro Pascal. I loved him in certain movies like The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and he is a good actor. But a lot like in Last of Us, he just feels miscasted and doesn't really fit the role well. I'm sorry, but Ewan Grufford, I hope I pronounced that right. He's always going to be my Mr. Fantastic. I think he's still fantastic as Mr. Fantastic. Even in the crappy Rise of the Silver Surfer, he was fantastic as Mr. Fantastic. Here, Pedro Pascal miscasted and sounded bored half the time. Sorry, this was just not the right role for him. The effects are atrocious, especially Thing and Franklin. Yeah, when you see Baby Franklin, it is a CGI baby for a grand majority of the movie, and it looks awful. And Thing, they went back to doing CGI effects rather than doing the practical suit that they did for the 05 movie. And it looks far worse than that movie as a result. Like, seriously, the effects in this movie, they look cheap, they look very scattered, and just look bad a grand majority of the time. The first 30 minutes are a massive pain. Seriously, the first 30 minutes of this movie are so damn boring. It drags the whole thing down by at least 2 points by itself. The story is barely functional. Like I said, if your movie takes 30 to 35 minutes to actually lock into your actual plot, you need to do some more revision in the production room. The humor is garbage. Only 2 lines were actually funny. This movie's not funny at all. It has only 2 lines that were funny, and it was mainly because of me just grasping for straws for something. Because again, the first 30 minutes of this movie, I was checked out. I was bored. I was willing to give this movie like a 2 or even a 1 because I was so bored. Like, even when they bring in that female Silver Surfer for the first time, and you see them go up to meet Galactus for the first time, somehow they made even that boring. I don't know why, but somehow they made that boring. Okay, next. Silver Surfer, while different, is bland. I have nothing against this new Silver Surfer. I am not against a female Silver Surfer in the slightest. I actually thought it was an interesting and unique idea. Problem is, this new Silver Surfer has no character and is extremely generic and boring. The writing is inconsistent at best. Rewatchability is middling. This cast, excluding Vanessa Kirby, is nowhere close to the cast of the 05 film, and the editing is a huge mess. So yes, this version of the Fantastic Four is good, and is in the higher tier of the MCU's recent projects. But it is not as fantastic as most like to claim. Thunderbolts is still the best MCU project of 2025 so far. Superman 2025 is still the best comic book movie of the year, and I will forever stand my ground on that. And yes, it may be nostalgia talking, but I still like the 05 movie more, even with its obvious issues, because it was simply more fun to watch. Again, Michael Chiklis, Chris Evans, Ian Grufford, that is going to be my definitive version of the Fantastic Four. Like, take out Jessica Alba, replace it with Vanessa Kirby. Outside of that, the rest of these three, these are the definitive versions of these characters. For me. And yes, like I said, I admit that's mainly just my nostalgia talking, but I'm going to remember those versions of the characters more than I remember the versions of the characters that were in this movie. Like, come on, dude. It's 2025. Do better, damn it. Yes, I'm glad it's not a train wreck like Phantom Force Stick or Rise of the Silver Surfer. Even though, minor spoiler alert, it does try to redo some of the aspects from Rise of the Silver Surfer for some dumb reason. But it's nothing more than just good, and that's the most disappointing of all, especially when people are praising it to high heaven like they have been the past 3 days. And people are going to continue to praise it even after this review is out, because, I don't know, because it's Marvel, and Marvel somehow wins everyone over, unless it's like a very, very bad project. I don't get it, man. This is why reviewing Marvel sometimes can be such a pain in the ass, because I want to like these movies as much as everyone else, but I just can't. So it makes me feel like the asshole for just being honest. Seriously. So, in conclusion, it's worth watching, but it's sadly just not worth remembering. I'm going to remember and rewatch the 05 movie more than I'm going to rewatch or remember this. Maybe that'll change on a rewatch. We shall see by the end of the year. But as it is right now, I think the 05 movie is still the best Fantastic Four movie. Yes, it may not technically be good, but it was at least fun. This took 30 to 35 freaking minutes to even become watchable. Okay, I'm gonna stop now before I start going on a rant and make this movie sound worse than it is. So, final verdict for the Fantastic Four First Steps is going to be a 7 out of 10. That is the same score that I gave to Fantastic Four 2005, but I'm going to remember the 05 movie more because that is what I'm accustomed to. Sorry. So, no, it's not a fantastic movie, but it is a pretty good movie. It just has a lot of problems that people just seem to keep throwing down the wayside that I don't get. But if you are one of the people that's had a fantastic time with this movie, great. I'm glad this movie was great for you, and I'm glad that you had a better time than me. However, as for me personally, through my own personal subjective opinion, this is a very good Marvel movie, a very good comic book movie, and a very good Fantastic Four movie that is full of critical issues. So, it is definitely one of the better ones, but it is not the best one. So, that means the final ranking of all 4 of these Fantastic Four movies goes something like this. With the 05 movie still at the top, this in second place, and then Rise of the Silver Surfer and Phantom Force Stick bottom dwelling in orbit of space. Alright, and that is literally everything that I have to say about this new Fantastic Four movie without going into spoilers. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for watching all of these first family Fantastic Four reviews. I had a great time reviewing them. I had a great time watching them, for the most part. Aside from the bottom two were crap. And even if I'm not the biggest fan of this particular one, I still have a good time watching it. So, bottom line, it is a very good movie. It just has a lot of flaws. So thank you for watching. Feel free to let me know your thoughts and opinions on this movie in the comments down below, as well as any of these in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next review. Take care.